games really need to be dramatic and exciting. Knockout Kings was technically accurate, but never particularly fun because of it, whereas Ready to Rumble 2 is still popular today because of its over-the-top action. Fortunately, Rocky is all about the exhilaration and drama, rather than worrying over technicalities, and looks set to become a real contender. Career Mode, called Movie Mode, casts you as the Italian stallion himself, struggling up from his grassroots beginnings at Mission Hall, through numerous original bouts and encountering iconic bosses along the way. You can be sure to get your chance at such famous names as Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, Ivan Draco and Tommy Gunn. In total there are 22 boxes, each with 16 combo moves and 2 super punches. So the easy to get into style soon pans out into a much more complex application of moves and strategies. Taking skateboarding to a new level, Evolution Skateboarding features a host of features to spice up the extreme sport genre. Skate across 8 vast and sprawling fantasy levels, featuring intense boss battles that you'll have to beat in order to progress through the game. You'll even have to face bizarre situations, like a giant spider that's taking a liking to the grinding lifestyle. And to keep things fresh and interesting, you'll also have the chance to completely redesign the game with the help of the Creator Skater and Creator Trick modes. You won't see anything else quite like it. Prepare for head-rolling, gut-tearing, sword-clashing battles. Hundreds of men hacking huge chunks of flesh out of each other all over the screen. To recreate the huge battles from this year's movie blockbuster, EA's The Two Towers hurls orcs, goblins and giant ogres at you in massive numbers. It's the kind of disorganized gaming chaos we all dream about. Death and destruction on a fantastic scale. And just to put you straight on such matters, EA has acquired the license to make video games based on the movie rights. It's gaming exploits. So no confusion there then. Reckless, the Yakuza missions takes you to summer in Hong Kong, where the Yakuza are out of control. These dangerous Japanese mobsters are carrying out territorial feuds and reckless high-speed chases throughout the city. As an elite police squad member or government spy, your job is to drive crime out of the streets in 20 white-knuckle missions. Take the wheel in one of 14 different vehicles in a selection of showdowns across the fully interactive and fully destructible city. With 2 distinct storylines and a truckload of secrets to unlock, this is one racing game that'll leave no one standing. X-Men Next Dimension plunges you into a powerful enemies plot to rid the world of mutants, carrying epic superhero showdowns across expansive 3D levels. You can fight as 24 different X-Men characters through interactive environments, replete with combat-induced damage. The 8 levels contain up to 26 sections, and you can battle your way seamlessly from place to place, knocking people through windows and engaging in all manner of impressive large-scale battles. And the system and storyline are easily accessible to players of all levels, so you'll be whooping supervillain ass in no time. It's time to put on that famous red cape and wear your pants over your trousers. Yes, Superman is out to save the world again in Superman Shadow of Apocalypse. Featuring a multi-layered storyline, co-written with DC Comics and complemented with a full orchestral soundtrack, it's up to you to save the world from infamous supervillains like the assassin Metallo, armed with the latest range of high-tech weaponry of apocalyptic origin. Packed full of moral dilemmas, you'll have to decide whether to rescue Lois, repair the dam, free the trapped civilians, or go after the bad guys. Where do your priorities lie? Can you save everyone and the day? There's only one way to find out. Set in 2027, before the original movie, Terminator Dawn of Fate throws you into the heart of the battle for post-apocalyptic Earth. Battle the Terminators and other sinister hunter-killers across a variety of dark, futuristic battlefields. Your ultimate goal is to send Kyle Reese back in time to stop the Terminator and protect Sarah Connor and the fate of all humanity. Featuring 3 heroes, each with their own speciality, and more than 20 high-energy weapons, there's everything you need to bring down Skynet, and you'll only have to wait until late October before mankind is brought to the brink of destruction. Branching out to the platforming genre, Dr. Muto is Midway's latest multi-level mutation, packed with 30 intricate levels spread across the vast expanse of the local planetary system. While developing a new sustainable energy source for his home planet, Dr. Muto makes a catastrophic blunder and blows up the entire globe of existence. In order to rebuild the universe, Muto must literally pick up the pieces and follow a trail of devastation to his arch nemesis, Professor Burnitall. Sounds fun, just wait till you play it. Was generally considered to be one of the very best fighting games of its time, with a swath of innovative ideas and a varied cast of characters, each with their own distinctive style.
Ring out!
And with such a noble heritage, Soul Calibur 2 certainly has a lot to live up to. While there is a lot that will be familiar to fans of the original game, this sequel may not be quite as revolutionary as its predecessor, but it still brings its fair share of progress. The new innovations include an expanded arena design with more varied shapes and partial enclosure around some stages. These walls can be used to stun opponents and as a means to outmaneuver the opposition.
I hardly broke a sweat.
The guard impact move has been simplified by 2 directions rather than the original 4, and there's been significant expansion in the guard break attacks, although they still employ the familiar soul charge system. There are now 3 levels of charging, with only the highest level providing unblockable attacks, while the other 2 only produce counter hits. The story is the familiar search for the sword's soul edge. Destroyed by Shanghua at the end of the original game, fragments of the blade have appeared throughout the world, causing the majority of the cast to pick up the arms once again and rejoin the fray with all their varied motives. While Hu Wang and Sophie Xia both leave the stage due to their conclusive story arcs, there are 4 new characters joining the crew. Hong Yun-sung and Cassandra Alexandra neatly replace the 2 absentees, while the roguish nobleman Raphael Sorel and the last priestess of the wind Talim each bring a new style to the mix. Bringing all the strengths of the original game, now powered by the might of the PS2 technology and streamlined for an even better fighting experience, Soul Calibur 2 looks set to win the hearts of fans and newcomers alike.
Forgive me!
Soul Calibur 2.
Venture into the warped reality of Malice, where the evil fire god Nefarious Rex has fractured the timelines and set the world ablaze. The world's only hope rests in the hands of the most unlikely hero, Malice. As Malice, it's your task to unravel the mystery of your demise, battle Rex's twisted minions, and fix the shattered timelines. How hard can that be? This bizarre story unsurprisingly leads to some pretty exotic level designs. There are 22 missions in total, all of which are beautifully coloured and immensely detailed. And with some fantastic character animations and the fabulous voice acting from the members of No Doubt, this is a real treat for the senses. It's imaginative, it's gorgeous, it's time to fight like a girl.
Close my eyes and maybe it will go away.
We last took a look at Run Like Hell back in February, and there have been some significant improvements since that point. Most noticeably, the graphics have received considerable attention, making the whole atmosphere richer and more immersive, just what you need in a survival horror game. Set in deep space, a mining team have their ship infiltrated by a previously undiscovered alien who seems to possess some level of collective consciousness. It may not be the most original plot in the world, but it certainly works, and it's spiced up with numerous twists and turns.
Emergency
This story is presented to you in a number of well-integrated cutscenes, setting the mood for this dark and complicated scenario. Adding to the atmosphere are the voice talents of such celebrities as Lance Henriksen, Kate Mulgrew and Clancy Brown. So although the character movements may be a bit rough, at least they sound convincing. The puzzles are varied and interesting, often taking the form of mini-games, which change the nature of the action for a while, such as controlling robots or just seeing things from an alternative perspective as you overcome an immediate problem. The creatures themselves all look very impressive, with an obvious nod in the direction of the Alien movies and H.R. Geiger. They also share something of a hive mind, which allows them to learn from your behaviour. So as you progress through the game, so does the alien menace, and things that worked earlier won't necessarily work later. You'll have to learn to outwit the creature, as it takes over more and more of the ship. Lose this battle of wits, and you lose everything. This classic arcade and Dreamcast fighting giant is making its way onto PS2, bringing with it all the features of the previous versions, backed up by the graphical prowess of PS2 hardware. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes, brings together over 50 characters from the Marvel comics and Capcom games. Although only 24 of them begin the game unlocked. Amongst the stars you'll see the likes of Spider-Man, Captain America and the X-Men, pitting their skills against such notables as Jill, Strider and the crew from the Street Fighter games. There are various modes to compete in, including a full championship and player versus player competitions, with the 3-on-3 encounter being the most notable. Here you can have 6 characters involved at once, with a chance to use the Team Hyper combo, where 3 characters perform super combos successfully, and the crossover combination, where 3 characters can perform super combos simultaneously. And if that wasn't enough, the point system allows you to accumulate credits that can earn bonus abilities and unlock all sorts of new features, and there's plenty in here to find. It may have taken a while, but PS2 owners are finally going to get the chance to play this classic fighting game for themselves, and to decide once and for all whether Marvel or Capcom have the harder characters.
You win.
Now here's a definite classic. Micro Machines has been the cause of more fights than almost any other game, and now it's coming to PS2. Packed full of pretty high-res graphics, 3D scenery and all the other elements of next-gen shine. And it's just as competitive and fun as ever. The latest port has lost none of the feel of the game. The little cars struggle up hills, bounce off one another, and generally behave as fun little race cars should. Building up speed and flying off ledges to their doom every few seconds, only to reappear and continue anew. The various vehicles each have their own distinct handling and come equipped with jump, power slide and fire buttons. You can make use of the fire button by collecting one of the various weapons and then laying the smackdown on the opposition with hammers, boxing gloves and all manner of other comic weaponry. The environments come in all shapes and sizes. Well, only one size really, but many shapes. Each track presents its own unique challenge, and you can even take to the air or paddle about on the pond. But be careful, the camera can become a bit erratic, so learning the courses is always a wise precaution. There's a selection of game modes with championships, time trials, one-off races, checkpoint racing, and even bomb tag. While the single-player mode is one thing, it's the multiplayer game where the game really comes alive. This is one racer guaranteed to bring out the competitive spirit of even the most placid personality. Unsurprisingly, Ratchet & Clank has been compared with games like Jak and Daxter, but this 3D platformer is trying very hard to be something more. Besides the traditional platform route, you'll also find shooter and RPG elements, providing a more varied and interesting mix. Ratchet is an amateur mechanic stuck on a planet he desperately wants to leave. But his ambition to adventure, see the sights and get himself into trouble has been stumped by the lack of parts he needs. Luckily for him, Clank is a highly intelligent robot on the run from a belligerent race of creatures bent on consuming as many mechanical parts as possible in order to create a new planet. When the two run into one another, they soon strike a deal and set off to explore the galaxy.
Has this ever happened to you? Hi, I'm Captain Quark, and believe me, there's nothing worse than staring down a Blargian snagglebeast from the inside.
Each of the planets the duo visit has its own distinct look, as well as its own traps and challenges, and there's a range of opponents, each requiring a different tactic to defeat. They can even be put into a position where they'll fight one another, if you can orchestrate it successfully.
Hey, you look like an athletic kid. If you can bring back the championship prize from the hoverboard races in Blackwater City, I'll make you my next stop.
There are bolts scattered throughout the world, which can be collected and used as money, allowing access to new weapons and gadgets. Not only is your choice of hardware important for fighting the monstrous hordes, but it also seriously affects your options when it comes to puzzle solving. Pro Progress through the levels is very non-linear, allowing you to jump from world to world, earning the funds necessary to buy the tools you need to defeat the harder challenges in each place. And while the game is pretty easy to begin with, the difficulty level soon ramps up and the challenge really begins. Ratchet & Clank is actually a larger game than Jak and Daxter, with many different aspects, but will it be as much fun to play? Only time will tell.
In related news, this planet has recently been suffering from an infestation of strange amoeboid creatures. Darla Gratch, Channel 64 News.
Come on, you stupid! I want it dead, you hear me? Dead!
Time Splitters was one of the first games to appear on PS2, but it still holds the crown for the best 4-player gaming experience on the console. That is, until now. Time Splitters 2 comes loaded with an impossibly improved multiplayer game, but also manages to pack in a completely overhauled single-player experience. Sadly, there are only 10 single-player missions, but the first one and a couple of moments after that managed to be so impressive that it even surpasses the finest sections of Medal of Honor. The plot sees the Time Splitters possessing 9 crystals spread throughout time and space, which need to be captured before they use them to enslave the human race. It's a simple premise, but one that allows each level to be set in a different era, providing a wide range of interesting settings. The missions themselves now require some thinking and strategy in order to complete all the designated objectives.
Come on, my dear, let's go!
You can choose your tactics, whether you opt to carefully snipe the opposition and cameras from your path, play the part of the stealthy assassin,
Merci.
or just wade in with your guns blazing. You can even subvert the sentry guns and cameras. But with such high points, especially prevalent throughout the first mission, it's difficult not to be a little disappointed when the later stages fail to keep up to this standard. And 10 levels are simply just not enough. We want more, damn it! But it's still multiplayer where this game really comes to life. You can now take more damage, which leads to a more strategic game and takes a little while to get used to. As you'd hope, Time Splitters 2 is a fantastic multiplayer experience, but now it has the added bonus of a great single-player game that, despite failing to keep the standards up all the way through, still hints at brilliance. While Tony Hawk still holds the benchmark for extreme sports games, there have been plenty of contenders for his crown, all featuring different twists on the same basic stunt-filled idea. Now entering the fray comes Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, changing the playing field substantially and demanding that we get wet and wild. And who are we to refuse an offer like that? The main concern is probably the loss of the versatility and vibrancy from the urban settings, but since Treyarch has spent over a year getting the water to behave just right, you can rest assured that it is being suitably compensated for. With organic and random waves creating perfect recreations of those spectacular swells that Californians just take for granted. Every wave is unique, dramatically varying in height, speed, tubes and brakes. Even the waves in a single location vary from one run to the next, so there's no easy way out here. You can't just learn the course by rote. This time you're really going to need some skill.
But don't we just gotta give a little time. Maybe give a friend a call instead of making them confused.
The tricking itself remains true to the Tony Hawk system, although getting your specials meter up to full as quickly as possible is essential for success. Once you've got it maxed out, you can start to rack up some immense scores, and as long as you continue to land each trick perfectly, your combo will continue to multiply.
And what an awful thing for you to say. Oh, what a terrible thing for you to relate.
And the icon challenge adds a further element, requiring you to perform the stunts indicated by the icons before the stack gets too tall. The ambience of this uniquely chilled sport has been impressively captured here, setting it in a different league from the competition. And while it may not be quite as technically brilliant as Tony Hawk 3, it is different enough to stand on its own.
What a terrible thing for you to do. What an awful thing for you to say. What a terrible thing for you confused. What a terrible thing for you to do. What an awful thing for you to say.
Shocks may not be the most complicated or innovative racing game ever devised, but there's something about it that just makes you want to pick it up and have a go. The concept is pretty familiar: win races to earn cash and buy new motors, as well as earning the right to progress to the next of the 4 divisions. Collect gold by beating 5 other racers around these pleasantly designed tracks in one of the 24 licensed high-powered cars available. To try and keep things interesting, each race contains 3 short sequences of track, known as shock zones. Once you enter one of the zones, a counter starts, moving from gold to silver to bronze. Get gold in all 3 zones and you'll be rewarded with a night version of the track, as well as activating the shock zone, a kind of warp mode that can be driven through for big cash prizes. The cars consist of the usual suspects, combined with arcade-style handling, providing plenty of wheel spin and drift turns. There are 3 environments: Arctic, jungle and desert. And the courses are the usual mixed bag of hairpins and sloping bends, but they are all presented very nicely and smoothly. The difficulty can be a bit erratic, with some hard tracks near the start, but nothing particularly challenging as you progress. And the AI is a bit on the side of thick, with all the computer-controlled cars bunching together for the duration of the race. Shocks is simply too flippant for a serious rally game, but unprepared to enter into the chaotic madness that is Burnout, instead it sits nervously on the fence, passing itself off as a piece of light-hearted arcade fun, and that's exactly what it is. Most people watch motorsports is for the spectacular crashes, so Crashed has cut straight to the chase, being about causing as much carnage as possible. Battle the opposition in gladiatorial fashion. The bigger the crashes, the better the damage and the greater the points. There are a variety of contest types, such as being the first to reach a preset target score, surviving the bedlam to be the last man standing, or jumping through hoops in the stunt area. And there are plenty of arenas to unlock, each with its own scenery and quirks. It's all total chaos and very exciting to begin with, but before long it all begins to get a bit stale. The other game modes are much the same, and once you've rammed your way through one arena, you've seen them all. You'll also notice that there's been little thought put into some of the contests. Last Man Standing actually requires you to avoid as many crashes as possible, while the other stunts tend to involve pointing the car in a particular direction and hitting the accelerator. Not exactly challenging. The handling doesn't help much either, being cumbersome at best, and this, tied with a frustratingly limited field of view, means you spend most of the time swerving about like an idiot, just trying to get a line on the opposition. That's until they appear out of nowhere and total your ride, of course. The big problem is the lack of skill required. It doesn't take a pro to ram into another vehicle, although with this handling you might disagree, and the whole thing becomes repetitive very quickly. The whole thing simply comes across as a disappointing attempt to reinvent the magic of Destruction Derby. Uninitiated, American football is all about chucking a funny-shaped ball and praying that some bloke on the same team will catch it, hopefully crossing the goal line after a considerable amount of time weighing up your strategic options. And it's here where Madden NFL 2003 really excels. The on-field action in EA's latest incarnation of the popular American football series is near faultless as always, offering an incredible level of depth and attention to detail. Plus, the stunning visuals are so spectacular, you could almost be watching it on TV. Your control over every facet of the sport is astonishingly comprehensive. The Creator Playbook feature lets you concoct your very own totally unique plays, formations, and receiver routes, and then test them out instantaneously to see if your tactical master plan works. The franchise mode gives you control over every aspect of the game, from pre-season drafts and rookie scouting to how your players train and play over 30 consecutive years. It's almost as deep as the soccer management game LMA. The brand new mini-camp mode also offers an incredible addictive sub-game where you travel the country completing coaching tasks and collecting those elusive Madden cards. There's even a multitude of scalable options and guidance from the big man himself to ease newcomers into the game. If you love American football, you simply must own Madden NFL 2003. And even if you just have a passing interest in the sport, it's incredibly welcoming to newcomers. Unfortunately, too much time is spent making decisions and sifting through scores of menus, losing all the excitement of multiplayer sporting greats like PES and NHL. Last year's NHL game was a massive improvement over the previous edition, but with less radical improvements made to the 2003 version, it hardly makes an essential purchase for hardcore stick wagglers, or does it? As you can see, it's as good looking as ever with some flashy new graphical touches, and last year's Seasons mode has now evolved into a full-blown franchise mode, with the ability to develop your squad and reign supreme at the top of the standings. Collecting all of the NHL cards is even more addictive, and the probability of a decent punch-up can still be up to inevitable with a multitude of customizable options on offer. As for controlling the action, handling your stick independently of your player's movements is tricky at first, but give it time and it will soon become your best friend. Nice touches like fooling the goalie and sending him the wrong way with a quick flick of the stick is now possible, as is the ability to deck your way past defenders who've committed themselves too early. An evolutionary step towards hockeying perfection.
Triple lutz and still scoring.
If you haven't played NHL on PS2 and you've got a passing interest in the sport, then this latest incarnation is an essential purchase. However, if you've already got the 2002 edition, then NHL 2003 basically boils down to independent stick control, a host of new gameplay tweaks and visual touch-ups. It's still the very best ice hockey game on PS2, but not quite enough to make an essential purchase for owners of NHL 2002. Anyone who started biking in the 80s or 90s is going to love these bikes. There are around 200 vehicles in Riding Spirits, ranging from the early large-engine, bendy-framed monstrosities to the lightweight screamers, right through to the extreme superbikes of today. All of them are impressively modelled, and many have a selection of colour schemes. They're absolutely gorgeous to look at, but sadly, that's where the glamour ends. Unfortunately, all this beauty is rather wasted when these machines hit the road, as the races here are some of the most tedious things imaginable. The huge corners on some of the tracks only serve to highlight the lack of analog finesse in the steering. Getting even the lightest bikes to a full bank is a gargantuan struggle. This means that the only way to survive the course is to learn the braking and turning points by rote. And where's the fun in that? Motorcycling is all about the excitement, so where are the wheelies, the jumps over crests, the tank slappers, the heart-stopping slides, the spark from decked-out exhausts? How can you have Riding Spirits without the spirit of biking? Even tuning the bikes to the limit does little to add any thrills to the proceedings, leaving the action mundane at best. It all looks very pretty and the bikes are nice to collect, but if riding them is such a chore, just what's the point? first game only made it as far as PC, but Hitman 2 Silent Assassin has made it to PS2, bringing its refreshing new approach to stealth killing. This isn't just Metal Gear Solid reheated. The aim here is not to mount an increasing body count, but to get the job done as efficiently and professionally as possible. Look smart, act smart. The game consists of a series of missions, each of which provide you with 1 or 2 targets, and they're all linked together by a fairly detailed story. Your laptop provides access to the mission information, along with the option to download maps, video footage of your targets, photos, and other useful info. Even with all this material, the missions are still very challenging, and you'll probably need to make several attempts before you're prepared for all the surprises. The downside of this is the extortionate loading times. On the upside, the missions are well designed and not every fumble is going to cost you the game. Mistakes make things harder, causing unnecessary deaths and forcing you to use less professional methods, but you can usually recover. However, the challenge is to pull off the hits as clinically and professionally as possible, and the ratings and statistics at the end of each mission only encourage such replay. So if you have any pride in doing the job well, you'll want to reload anyway. Each of the missions has a variety of ways to complete the hit. You can use disguises, sneak through back doors and windows, use non-lethal weapons, or just go for the gung-ho approach, should you be callous and unprofessional enough to gun down civilians. The whole thing generally looks fantastic, with only a few graphical glitches. Even the character models move perfectly, with some of the death sequences being very impressive. And when you consider the atmospheric ambient sounds, beefy weapons, and of course that sharp black suit, you know you're looking at a game with real style. With the season hotting up, This Is Football 2003 is ready to get off the bench once more and make its way onto the field. And sporting a FIFA license and boasting over 13,000 players, many of whom have been accurately modelled for those special close-up moments, is looking ready to take on the opposition. And it certainly comes in with plenty of flashing cameras and drama. Despite initially worrying us with scores of redundant menus and options, when it gets up and running, there's plenty to see.
Shoots! Good stop by the keeper. Penalty to Manchester. Puts it in the pages. It's a goal!
There's a comprehensive tactics section and relatively smooth passing system, and some extremely detailed player animations. But then, the opposition are pretty spectacular as well. It may be unfair to compare everything with games like Pro Evolution Soccer, but that's what it's going up against. And in this light, it simply lacks the technical brilliance, intricate moves, and heightened excitement that its rival possesses.
There's the shot! Oh, that's great keeping.
On the other hand, compare it to EA's ever-recycling arcadey FIFA series, and the contrast looks much more favourable. Here you have plenty of glitz and glamour with the PS2 working its best to put on a show, and it does indeed manage an admirable job of it. But when it gets right down to it, you need actual talent rather than just a good show. Ronaldo rather than Ricketts, and any real player will tell you which game's the real Premiership contender. Despite its name, Ninja Assault has little to do with the stealth and subtlety usually attributed to the Shadow Warriors. Instead, the focus is thoroughly on big guns and full frontal assaults with a force of demons, mechanical spiders, and hyperactive psychopaths. on-rails light gun game in the classic mold, it all feels admirably sprightly and immediate, thanks to the use of all 3 dimensions and constantly changing viewpoint, and enemies with more energy than an Olympic acrobat pumped full of caffeine. The graphics aren't actually anything special, but since everything is moving so fast, it doesn't really have time to offend. They move smoothly, and that's what really counts here. The most entertaining aspect occurs when fighting multiple enemies of different types. Some can be put down in a single shot, others need multiple rounds to get the message. Some are keen on dishing death from a distance, whereas others are up close and personal. Some use shields, while others prefer to leap from cover. Picking your targets at these points can make all the difference, and you only get a heartbeat to make a decision, so things can get pretty frantic. The story has been upgraded since its arcade origins. There are now 3 heroes, and the Rescue the Princess tale can be seen in different ways depending upon the various combinations of these characters. This basically means seeing the stages in different orders, but it's welcome anyway. It may not be the most original game you'll ever see, but it's fast, smooth and enjoyable. Not worth buying a light gun for, but worth a look if you already own one. Turok Evolution spawns from an impressive heritage of superb N64 games, and this PS2 release boasts new weapons, new enemies, and a whole new look. Not to mention coming supported by an extensive PR campaign filled with crazy publicity stunts. But when it comes to the crunch, it just doesn't seem to have any bite.
We'll overrun these pink insects and be feasting on them for years.
We got enemy flyers coming in!
Since this is Turok's first outing on PS2, the story has been designed to be newcomer-friendly, taking the series back to the beginning by recounting the Native American hero Talset's first mission to the Acronius Lost Lands. But despite all the new goodies and considerate storyline, this still manages to simply be a disappointing linear, mediocre first-person shooter with questionable graphics and a frustratingly poor save game system. Not that it doesn't try hard. There are vast outdoor levels filled with nicely animated organic jungles and an army of voracious dinosaurs. But the PS2 seems to have trouble with these wide open spaces, and with no concealing fog, pop-up is painfully obvious. It's also unfortunate that these large levels should be so linear. Take 2 steps into the surrounding foliage and you'll be greeted by an impenetrable barrier of greenery. The range of weaponry is as entertaining as ever, ranging from the trusty tech bow to the cranium-melting swarm boar. And they all come with their own distinctive death animations as well. Fundamentally though, it's difficult to see this as much more than a basic first-person shooter, without much to make it stand out from the crowd. And since the crowd contains such competition as Time Splitters 2 and Red Faction 2, there really doesn't seem to be much of a contest.
They're dead. They're all dead. We should have known they would find us. Should never have opposed Tyrannus. They'll never show us mercy now. No mercy.
Street Hoops takes that staple of American sport it back on the street where it belongs. It's basketball, and it's keeping it real. Ironically, as with a lot of street activities, this is a masterpiece of style over substance. It's essential that your gear is the latest thing, and regular trips to the stores for the latest fashions are a must. Only once you're dressed to impress can you hit the playgrounds and wow the girls on Venice Beach. Once you've got the togs, you can make your debut in various cities around the world, from Philadelphia to London. And when the action starts, it's fast and furious, but with no less need for making an impression. The controls are easy to get the hang of, with your basic moves transforming into mad skills at the touch of a button. And as with all showmanship, it's much easier to pull off the most stylish moves while on the offensive, stun the crowds with your alley hoops and cross-court passing, but whatever you do, don't lose possession. Playing defensively is much harder, and you're unlikely to impress anyone here. Your only hopes are general fumbles or missed shots from the opposition. This bias makes for a very quick game, powering from one end of the court to the other, with basket after basket racking up the score for both sides. The graphics don't really make anything special of the locations, with smooth but basic player animations and plain-looking scenery. The basket replays are nice, but they become too frequent to remain special for long. On the other hand, the audio work is well done, managing to provide a decent atmosphere, even if you aren't exactly going to be transported away to Venice Beach. It's quick and stylish, with no defense and end-to-end action, much like real street basketball. Great for a quick thrill, but probably not something that's going to hold your attention for long. When we first heard of Red Faction's terrain-deforming geomod system, the possibilities ignited everyone's imagination. But when it finally arrived, we were all disappointed to discover that it had been severely neglected in the actual design. But there are no such problems with the awesome Red Faction 2, which has the geomod engine at the forefront of your activities, blowing its predecessor to smithereens. Set a few years after the uprising on Mars, ultra-rich tyrant Victor Sopot has been trying to create nano-augmented super soldiers, but was disappointed to discover that they possessed an independent spirit. In trying to erase this mistake, he manages to transform his creations into rebellious freedom fighters, intent on his downfall.
Don't screw up, Alias. Chancellor Sopot wants, Chancellor Sopot gets.
you take on the role of Alias, demolitions expert and nano-augmented soldier turned freedom fighter. And you're assisted by your fellow squad members, each with their own skills and personalities.
You're welcome.
Fortunately, you don't have to worry about keeping them in line, since they're all independently minded. Instead, you can get on with the important task of blowing things up. And they actually do a reasonable job of it, showing an impressive AI that's only mirrored by the enemy. No longer do they have super acute hearing. Now they'll miss your stealthy approaches and become intimidated by overwhelming odds. And despite being able to take anything on headlong, should you wish, you'll often find it rewarding to take stock of your scenery and maybe drop the roof on them instead. But don't get too carried away with the carnage, as incredibly entertaining as it may be to flatten everything in sight, there's now a karma system that'll penalise your reckless destruction of innocent civilians while rewarding any conscientious do-gooding you might accomplish. This karma affects which of the multiple endings you'll finally achieve, and what more incentive do you need to play through a second time with no consideration for the value of human life? The original game may have been no slouch when it came to graphics, but this sequel manages even better. Even the new 4-player mode keeps up an impressive frame rate, and besides the fantastic single-player game, the 7 multiplayer mode provides 40 maps, 41 player models, and a vast amount of fun. In fact, that's what Red Faction 2 has in heaps: fun. It's everything the first game should have been, with an excellent single-player campaign, exciting multiplayer option, and the chance to blow up absolutely everything.
Prepare to join the Faction. Red Faction 2.
After the anticlimax that was Just Bring It, we were concerned by just what WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth might present us with, but as you can see, things are looking brighter from the word go. Since the last WWE release, there have been some serious reorganizations with the WWE, not least of which being the merger with WCW, which had the audacity to occur just after the shipping of the previous title. You can be sure that Shut Your Mouth is going to be as up-to-date as possible at its point of shipping, complete with all the current superstars, along with their allegiances and catchphrases, which should be great provided there are no more major upsets in the storylines. There's plenty more personality this time, with more complete settings, a 3D audience and commentary from JR and the King. The roster is probably the most comprehensive superstar list ever, with over 50 wrestlers present. And the Creator Wrestler system has also received an overhaul, so there's plenty more to play with, should you care to try. Obviously, the graphics have been on the right end of some serious attention, with the character models being much more detailed and the animations being personalized, with each wrestler's own distinctive style, rather than following some generic moves. One of the biggest criticisms of Just Bring It was the poor career mode, so this has received a major overhaul as well. It's now bigger and better than ever, with more out-of-ring events and more posturing and bravado than you could possibly ever want. There are over 14 pay-per-view arenas featuring the all-new SmackDown, Raw and Heat sets, along with stages taken from Unforgiven, Vengeance, Backlash and even the British spin-off Rebellion event. It's all looking very promising at the moment, with all the fine touches in place and the atmosphere being spot on. Now the only question remaining... Burnout 2 Point of Impact has been as close to a perfect arcade racer as you're ever likely to see. It's technically impressive, stunningly beautiful and accessible to newcomers while still providing a challenge for the pros, all with a fantastic sensation of speed that leaves you gasping for breath. The concept is simple. Race against 3 other cars through heavy traffic. There's no plot, no police, and no need for explanations. Just get out there and give them hell. There are plenty of cars to unlock, and they all have their own distinctive handling. To an extent that would be impressive in a sim, never mind an arcade game like this. And you'll soon find that the competition is balanced to suit your vehicle, so you can't just win by having a better car. Of course, the crashes are the star of the show. These explosions are much more impressive than those found in the previous game, and they don't become dull after you've seen a couple either. Every major impact bursts into a spectacular slow-motion multi-angled replay, showing off just how much damage you've caused in excruciating detail. But you needn't worry about those slight bumps and scrapes. Only the real humdingers get the full extravagant treatment. You can rack up points and fill your burnout bar with a variety of reckless driving, and then hold R1 to launch yourself into the super accelerated burnout mode. Keep up the ridiculously dangerous driving and you can even chain the burnouts, maintaining the pace for even longer. And this time out, the burnouts are easier to achieve, so you won't have any problems getting straight into the thick of it. If any complaint had to be raised against this game, it would have to be the difficulty involved in unlocking some of the best cars. This requires completing an arduous series of face-offs, but you only really need to take this up if you want the top cars, so it doesn't intrude much into the simple enjoyment of the rest of the game. Burnout 2 has to be the fastest, smoothest and most dramatically entertaining arcade racer on the planet, providing a rich challenge for petrol heads while still being completely accessible to beginners and one-off thrill seekers. The cars look brilliant, the handling's gorgeous, the speed's insane and the crashes are to die for. It's a masterpiece, pure quality. What more could you want?
get as bad as this is to look at the facts. Agreed? Fact number 1, and top fact on the list. I am still alive. Agreed? Good. Fact number 2, you're here to take care of me. Thank goodness for facts.
You are the one and only. You make this union holy. You drain the world so lonely. I'm overcome by the way we losing everything. Pain, stay through this again. Wait, shake, turn into you. Safe place, I'm down in my head.
Right, let's do the business then.
Watch and learn something. You move when I tell you to move. We'll wait till they've locked the door. Mom! Don't worry, Sus. Get up and back.
Eyebrows! Make the boy listen!
Johnson, you bastard!
Dad!
continue the work that my brother William started.
Number 13 will soon no longer be a problem.
Gentlemen, we're ready to begin.
shouldn't have come here. This is our war, not yours.
300,000 dead and counting. That's not a war, Mr. Ito. It's genocide.
These people, they have no food. We can either help, or we can sit back and watch a country destroy itself on CNN.
Rangers, Deltas, today we go.
Name?
Blackburn.
Date of birth?
2/27/75.
I was trained to fight. Were you trained to fight, Sergeant?
I was trying to make a difference.
So guess what? You're going out today.
What?
That's what you wanted, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Just remember when everybody else is shooting, shoot in the same direction. You ever shot at anybody before?
No, Sergeant.
Me neither.
Once that first bullet goes past your head, politics go right out the window.
Hey, baby, it's me. You there? Pick up if you're there.
I love you, baby.
RPG! Hold on! 6 Mark, down!
Got Black Hawk down. Black Hawk.
My men are surrounded by thousands of Somali militia. I need help now.
Where's the rescue squad?
We're in!
I can't do it.
It's what you do right now that makes a difference.
People ask me, why do you do it, man? They want to understand it's about the men next to you.
Don't let that man crawl! Somebody help that man!
That's all it is.
No one gets left behind, you know that.
Nobody has to be a hero. It just sometimes turns out that way.
$4,200 square feet, 4 floors.
Hardwood floors throughout, as many as 6 working fireplaces.
Oh, God, it's huge.
Yes, I don't know if you have live-in help.
No, it's just the 2 of us. Huh, that's strange. Why? Is this room smaller than it should be?
You're the first person to notice. No one from our office had the slightest idea. It's called a panic room.
What?
A safe room. Castle keep in medieval times. Poured concrete walls, buried phone line not connected to the house's main line. You have your own ventilation system and a bank of surveillance monitors that covers nearly every corner of the house.
What's to keep someone from prying open the door?
Steel. Very thick steel.
My room. Definitely my room.
Disgusting how much I love you.
Tell me about it.
What's going on? People in the house.
Take what you want and get out of my house!
What we want is in that room.
What is he doing?
They're locking us in.
Ice Age?
I've heard of these crackpots.
Subarctic temperatures will force us underground for 1,000,000 billion years.
So you got 3 melons?
Chill with Ray Romano.
Hey, does this look like a petting zoo to you, huh?
John Leguizamo.
From now on, refer to me as Lord of the Flame.
Hey, Lord of the Flame. Your tail's on fire.
Dennis Leary.
You're a little low on the food chain to be mouthing off.
You say that, but you don't mean it.
And Scrat.
You lost, aren't you?
That's it. You're out of the herd.
They'll answer the call of the wild.
Fish.
And they'll boldly go where no mammal has gone before. From Academy Award winner Chris Wedge, 20th Century Fox presents a Blue Sky Studios production.
Stick together. It's easy to get lost in the air.
The story of 4 strangers who go from sub-zero
Back scratcher.
to heroes.
Come on, keep up with me.
I would if you were moving!
Move, sloth! Sloth!
Way to go, Tiger. Captain, iceberg ahead.
Ice Age.
Yay! You're okay. You're okay. I can kiss you. Yuck! Yuck!
You're an embarrassment to nature. Do you know that?
In 1 week's time, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
Destroy us one by one.
Tomorrow my victory is complete.
I know the prophecy. I have seen it.
They are the last of their kind. Skilled assassins. Trained for generations in the deadly arts.
Will you stand alone before the fury of his armies?
Yes.
Take a breath. Take a dozen of your best men. Track him down. Kill him.
Very long 6 left over bumps. Into bump and 6 right. Into left and K3 right tightens. Into 6 right over crest. Into 6 right and bump and long 3 left. Right and long 5 left opens. .36 crest and 6 left and K long 4 right tightens, don't cut. 56 crest middle and long 6 right and long 6 left post inside. Into long 6 right and crest and long 4 left tightens to 3. 50 right and K3 left tightens rocks outside. Into 6 right and 6 left and long 3 right tightens. 30 K long 4 left rocks outside. And long 6 right into left and 2 right. Left and right, into 5 right, and very long 6 left tightens, keep in, and 3 right. And 6 left, into K long 2 left, bad camber, and K long 6 right tightens, 2, don't cut, rocks outside. 33. Into caution, 4 left narrows over crest, and right and left and turn 2 right over bridge, don't cut. 30 K long 3 right tightens into open hairpin left. And 6 right. 54 left. Long 4 right tightens 2. And 6 left 30. Long 6 right. Into 5 left and crest and long 6 right tightens to 4. Long 3 right opens, and 6 left keep in, into K5 right over crest, don't cut, into long 5 left over crossroads, tightens to 3, don't cut, and turn hairpin right. Into 5 left, and 6 right, and K long 4 left over finish.
Automodelista just reeks of style, sporting cel-shaded visual gorgeousness and some superb attention to detail. But what do you get when you look beyond this sumptuous facade? Well, there have been some serious improvements to the handling since E3. The different roads, cars and tuning make for some very distinctive rides. And the handling still sits somewhere between arcade action and more serious simulation. Arcade mode provides a wide range of cars and tracks for immediate racing. The concern really lies with the Garage Life career mode. Here you begin your career with a single car of your choice, and you're free to tune it up as you see fit. While this sounds fine, it does mean that anyone with half a clue about how to tune up their ride is going to make mincemeat of the first few tracks. The real fun comes when you take it online, of course. There's nothing quite like racing against human opponents, and the opportunity to show off your customized pride and joy is worth it alone. There are plenty of options for personalization, meaning you can really go to town on your paint job, making your wheels something very special, an essential quality for any online game. The special effects are dramatic without being intrusive, including the mandatory speed lines and skid effects. But if you want something a bit over the top, then you can make things as spectacular as you like using the VJ Theatre mode. Here you can play back any race and edit it with music, sound effects and video overlays to make a really slick presentation. It looks fantastic, it handles beautifully, but it doesn't really pose much of a challenge to the trained racer. But when the online game takes off, that might all change. After all, there's nothing more challenging than a practiced human competition.
Let's go!
Verticop and its sequel have earned their rightful place as arcade classics, and now the two are coming together on PS2 in the guise of Verticop Rebirth. So prepare yourself for some classic light gun action. But what are you actually getting here? Well, both of the original arcade games are available from the outset, and both of them have benefited from considerable graphical improvements. The gameplay, however, remains true to the originals, a definite bonus for pros and fans, but something new might have been nice as well. In fact, there aren't really any surprises at all. Besides the two arcade games, you also get an exercise mode, providing you with a shooting gallery with both mobile and stationary targets, versus mode, challenging two players to compete for the highest score, and a special Verticop CG art section. As you progress through the rest of the game, you'll gradually unlock artwork that appears here. It's not exactly innovative, and those in search of some new Verticop goodness will surely be disappointed. But if you simply want the joys of the Verticop games on PS2, then this is a perfect chance to relive the classics of the light gun genre. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure definitely lives up to its name. On one side of the coin, it's an impressive recreation from the original manga, but on the other side, it's a basic action game. The cel-shaded graphics manage a remarkable recreation from the original artwork, and fans will recognize the speed lines, animating katakana, and the distinctive pacing embodied in the various cutscenes and the slow-motion sequences during the combat scenes. Thanks to its origins, there's no shortage of imagination in the design. But since this is set well after the original story, the cast has changed and the setting is now Italy, in the not too distant future. You take on the role of Giorno Giovanno, son of the earlier character Dio Brando, who's trying to get on with his business while being harassed by all manner of bizarre opponents. The combat sequences themselves are pretty straightforward, although things are spiced up with each character possessing a spirit alter ego called Stand, which grants them unusual powers in hand-to-hand combat. Giorno has an interesting range of moves here, although they can become a bit repetitive after a while. On the other hand, the various opponents to be faced each show a distinctive style, and just finding out what they're capable of can be quite entertaining, even if it does leave you spread thinly across the floor. Projecting your stand allows you to perform a range of new and interesting maneuvers, but also consumes its energy reserves. This reserve can be recharged by spending a little time on the defensive, which leads to the need to develop strategies for getting the most from your powers. While this certainly isn't going to be to everyone's taste, due to its bizarre nature and somewhat simplistic gameplay, fans of the manga are bound to love it, and the chance to unlock artwork as you defeat the opposition is just the icing on the cake.
When it comes to international rally racing, they don't come any cooler than the legendary Colin McRae. For the last 15 years, the daredevil driver they call the Flying Scotsman has been taking the World Rally Championship by storm. So it's no surprise that there's only one rally game that serious gamers care about, the one tested and approved by the Speed King himself, the Colin McRae series.
Right then, when you're ready, put your foot down.
When the first Colin McRae rally hit the streets back in 1998, it was hailed by critics and gamers alike as the ultimate rally sport game.
Now then, let's see how you did.
Version 2 stepped on the gas even harder, making major advances in graphics and gameplay. The authentic handling, white-knuckle speed simulation and adrenaline-inducing sound all made for an incredibly exciting driving experience. Now it looks like Colin McRae Rally 3 is set to leave the competition behind in a cloud of dust.
Colin McRae's been a huge success worldwide. We launched it back in July 1998, and so far the product's sold over 5 million units worldwide. We're pleased to say that it's been #1 in over 20 countries, and now nearly 50 countries worldwide have been selling Colin McRae, so it's truly a worldwide success.
Colin McRae 1 and 2 have been fantastically successful, so I think people have really high expectations as to what they're expecting of Colin McRae 3.
It is a very special art, and to drive like somebody like Colin McRae, I mean, you have to be very, very special.
And to enhance the authenticity of the driving experience even more, the game has radically improved graphics.
Visually, all of the effects, we've got fantastic sort of dust and smoke kicking up off the tyres, we've got rain effects on the windscreen. The visual aspects of the game just look so much more impressive than anything we've been able to do previously.
Colin McRae Rally, the brand, defined what rallying was all about in video games, the true grit and the true hardship and the damage and the smell of petrol in rallying. And what we've done with the next generation consoles is taken that and stretched it even further.
We've taken it right back to its roots and said, this time round,
we're going to hopefully be able to do everything that we wanted to do, because the power of the consoles is so much more.
We've been able to do whatever we need to do, talk to whoever, ask whatever questions, and that's just given us a real sort of Colin's eye view as to how rallies work.
Of course, we've worked hard to try and make it as realistic as possible, and I really do feel that we've got something here which is far better than anything else on the market. I think it's a great game, and it's a great playing game, and you know, I think it's going to grow and grow and grow.
As gaming technology continues to advance and the profile of international rally racing keeps growing, gamers and rally fans alike have good reason to be excited about what lies ahead.
Adrenaline, yeah, you get a lot of adrenaline, especially with Colin McRae as your driver.
Colin McRae, Rally 3. It's what lies ahead.
You to provide us with goals that were a bit different and a little bit special, we thought it might limit the flow of entries. How wrong we were. The postbags are still rammed with memory cards full of minor acts of footballing genius. Here's 3 you made earlier. Sean Newton provides this month's 3rd place clanger, combining sublime skill, blatant flukiness and goalkeeping incompetence to bend his shot in direct from the corner. Craig McAllister shows some wonderful skill here with a clever dummy that totally foxes the defence, leaving the last man flat-footed and Spain's Uzers free to slot the ball home with perfect precision. This month's winner is Will MacArthur, with a move that exudes class from start to finish. It all starts with a clever dribble through the centre of defence before delivering a perfectly weighted killer ball that drops right onto the toe of the striker, who rounds it off with a clinical volleyed finish.